Hey guys, so when we first go to introduce a dog to the remote collar, one of the things we really want to pay attention to is what we have for hair and fur around their neck. Some dogs have thick hair, some dogs have really long hair, and when we're fitting the remote collar and we're trying to find the dog's working level, if you have a lot of hair in the way, it's not going to make good contact and it's going to make your training really difficult. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll take a tool such as the Furminator and we'll brush the dog out really well along their neck to make sure that we're going to get good contact with the remote collar. Typically in our training, we try to situate the remote collar somewhere between the ear and the shoulder blade along more of the muscle chain. We don't want it down here, and we usually don't have any reason to put it back here. So Jack has shorter hair, but it is a little bit thicker. One of the things we'll do with dogs with long hair or thick hair after we've brushed it out is when we go to put the remote on, one, make sure it's not too loose. We definitely don't want it to be loose like this where it's got a lot of space or dangling down here. Hey buddy. And a lot of times what I'll do, and we'll teach our clients to do, is to just wiggle it, if you can see from this angle, just kind of wiggle it in between the fur. And what that's going to do is part the hairs so you're getting down to the skin before you snug the collar strap up. So rather than put it on top of his hair, I'm going to kind of wiggle it in between, and then I'm going to snug his collar up. And that's going to help me get a better fit. So when we finally tighten down our strap, we want to still have space for our fingers here, but I don't want this box to move around his neck. Now, if I had this more loose, which I'll show you guys, and I went to go twist that collar box, see how it moves around his neck? That's going to be too loose and I'm not going to get good contact. So another thing that we really advocate for is to remind people that when your dog's going to be wearing the remote collar, and if they're going to be wearing it snug, you have to make sure that you adjust and rotate it. So what that can be as simple as is instead of the box being here, I might shift it to here, or here, or here, or even the other side of his neck. And what that's going to do is prevent pressure sores. And we see a lot of dogs who might get a little irritation if they're swimming or if they're wearing their collar for an extended period of time from the contact points or even the biothane strap itself. There are options out there in regards to comfort pads or nylon collar straps as well that help create more comfort so the dog doesn't get any irritation. But it's just like anything we might wear for an extended period of time. Eventually it might cause a little irritation. So you just want to rotate it around and make sure that every few hours or so, it's not in the exact same spot for your dog. Okay guys, so the next thing that we're going to do is find Jack's working level, and we've got a few videos on this. After we're sure that we've got a good fit, we're going to go through on the remote one level at a time until he shows us some kind of acknowledgement, and that's the level we're going to start his training at, paired with food reinforcement. So he's on the mini educator right now. We've brushed him out. We've got a good snug fit on the side of his neck where he's got the most contact with the muscle chain, because this is, remember, a muscle stimulant collar. It's not static. And I'm going to go up one level at a time, and you guys are going to pay attention to his body language. I'm not going to give him any cues. I'm not going to give him any commands or anything like that, because I want it to just be a neutral response to this sensation. So this is level 1. We're getting no response. This is level 2. Now he might have picked his head up because he heard the click of the button, or he was just done sniffing the ground, so I'll try level 2 again. I don't really feel like I'm getting a consistent response from him, so we're going to go up to level 3. Not really acknowledgement there. He's looking around. We've got, humidifier in the room. He might be checking and hearing noises next door. So we're going to go up to level 4. Not really an acknowledgement, and he's kind of just standing there hanging out wondering what the heck's going on. What are we doing? So we're going to go up to level 5. Going back to sniffing. Didn't feel like I saw any acknowledgement for the level 5. We'll try that one more time. So we'll try a 6. And 6 sounds kind of like SIT, so I'm just going to move him to make sure that he's not thinking he's in a sit command. Come on, buddy. Good. So he's sniffing, which sometimes can be a distraction in and of itself. So we're on level 6, and I'm not feeling like I'm getting a very clear acknowledgement from him. Whoops. So I'll try it again now that he's not sniffing. So did you guys see how there's a blink there? And he moved his head over? There's the blink. He's looking at the collar. So you guys can see him really acknowledging that remote collar pressure. That's what we're looking for when we find the working level. And he moved his head over. See right there? I don't know if Jeremy zooms in on his face. You guys can really see him acknowledge that. And it's very subtle. I'm going to press the button again. And he might even look over towards where the collar is. See? Good boy. I know, it sounds like sit. Good job, buddy. So 5 or 6 is where we're going to start with him for his working level. And all we're going to do initially to pair this is tap the button and give him a piece of food. Tap the button and give him a piece of food. And that's going to create an acknowledgement and an understanding of the remote means pay attention to you and I can get something out of it. Okay guys, so one of the introductory exercises we do with most of the dogs is just a random tap on the remote. So I'm going to kind of move around with Jack and walk a bit when he's not paying too close of attention, which can be a little tougher when you've started your foundation with a lot of food work and a lot of focus and engagement. I'm just going to give him a quick tap on the remote and then I'm going to praise him and give him a piece of food. And what that's going to do is when he feels this sensation, he's going to become conditioned and patterned to looking to me and trying to figure out what I want from him or if I have something for him or what's going on. So he could be sniffing and I could give it a tap if he pays attention or acknowledges it. I'm just going to praise him and give him a piece of food. Good boy. Come on. So I don't know if you guys saw there, he looked over to where he saw it. So even though he didn't look at me, I'm going to mark and acknowledge that. And what he's going to figure out is this is me. It's not just a foreign sensation. But that's going to take a lot of practice and repetition. So I'm going to do that again. Good boy. So I don't know if you guys saw, he had a little bit of a head turn there. That's all I'm looking for at first. Now I'm going to wait for him not to be paying too much attention to me. Good boy. Jack. Yeah. Now I'm going to move again. So I like to kind of be behind them if I can. And the more we do this, the harder it's going to be for me to get his attention off of me. And there's other exercises that we can transition to if that starts to become the case. Good boy, Jack. Yes, good job. All of our marker training that we've done before too, as soon as he acknowledges that sensation and I see that and I start praising him, he's going to very quickly figure out, oh, when I feel that sensation, I can pay attention to you. I'm going to get something out of it. Huh. I'll wait for him not to pay attention again. Good boy. Yes. So you guys saw at that time, as soon as he felt it, there was a very short span of time before he looked over at me, even before I started praising him. So he's already starting to figure out, oh, that tap, tap, tap sensation is, I can get something from you. That's what I want my foundation to be with him. Wait for him to kind of just hang out and ignore me again. Good boy, yes, good job, buddy. And I can also do this, Jack usually walks pretty close, but a lot of dogs that we work with sometimes will kind of walk away from you and ignore you. So I could also start this type of exercise by just walking in a specific direction. And when the dog started to move out, I'm going to make him move out ahead of me, I could do a tap tap on the remote. Good boy, yes. I don't know if you guys saw him acknowledge that when we were a little further away. And that could be another way to set this type of foundation training up. Just move around your house or your yard, and as the dog starts to walk around with you, if they wander out ahead, a little tap tap. Good boy, yes. And if I need to, I'll use the leash, but a lot of times, whoops, can you find it? There, buddy. A lot of times you won't have to once they start to figure it out. If they're paying too much attention to you, another great exercise is tossing food. So they go and they look for it and they're sniffing and eating that food to set up them not paying attention to you. Because a lot of times, like I said, when you increase this focus and this engagement, it gets tougher and tougher to get them to not pay attention to you. Jack. So a lot of times what I might do is toss food. After he eats it, give him a quick tap tap. And then, good boy, good job. So that I can kind of set up that he's not paying attention to me if I have too much focus. But that's all we're going to do foundation exercise-wise for maybe a day or so to really get him to understand when he feels this sensation, it's me, and that it's just communication, it's not something to be worried about. And then we'll start to layer it over all of his obedience commands.